Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Circle the Bay Podcast. Top 5 of the week here for week 25, 25. Week 25. Damn, we're 25 episodes into this. Week 25 for top 5. Wow, amazing. Love it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Devious One I will see alongside one of my brothers from another mothers, which we have the hats of all worlds. He's not wearing a hat today. I don't know why, but he has the, I don't know if it's a magic wand or I don't know how he's doing. Oh, okay, the HDMI cable. The king of HDMI cables, the king of the hats, the Matt's world, the Mad Hatter himself, and that is Matthew Steamboat. And also, we have the man who says it should have been him since day one from Ref Pro Wrestling. He should have been the future ROH champion. He could have been everything what he wanted to do, but he didn't do it because Dolph Ziggler keeps stealing his shit. It should have been him, and that is CKOne himself. And we have the man that saves us from retribution, that saves us from all the bullshit, especially Papa Vinny's bullshit and Tony Khan's bullshit. He's not much, Tony Khan. He saves us from Matt Hatter's bullshit. The man with the 12-inch pythons, the flexes for the whole world here, and that is the great American hero, Mike Lopez. That's right. All right. Let's go ahead and start it off. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our top 5 pick of the week for week 25, which we do have, obviously, starting tonight. You will see Hell in a Cell. Don't forget, tune in on the WWE Network, 4 o'clock, Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you tune in for that. We will give you our thoughts about that in the following episode for week 26. So we decided to go ahead and, give a little tribute for Hell in a Cell. So we went top 5 Hell in a Cell of all time that we love. Our favorite top 5, top 5 Hell in a Cell matches. So let's go ahead and start it off with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moe. Yes, you're smiling, so that's you, Matt. You can start it off.
I often kick it off. I've noticed the pattern, but I'm good with it. So I'm going to kick it off right away with number 5, Batista versus Triple H Hell in a Cell. So that's my number 5. Mainly due to like I was seeing, I guess this was around when Batista turned babyface.
Yes.
And it was more of, and he's got like lyrics to his music and the fireworks and the pyro. And, I guess Triple H is, putting him over. So, and I don't know how memorable Batista is on promos though, because I didn't really, if it didn't stay with me or I didn't really watch, that's like a whole other thing. But that we're not talking about promos, we're talking about the match. So, that's my number 5. I won't expand on it too much because it's kind of hazy in my memory. Number 4, here's a match that actually did stay in my memory. And this is a match I did talk about on the Undertaker episodes that we did. You can look at that in the archives, of course. So number 4 is Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker at No Mercy, the Hell in a Cell match. And that is, just very emotional. Of course, we have the Hand in the Cast. We have the Last Ride Powerbomb. We have just so much, it was really deep. And my hand was hurting after watching it.
Shit.
Did he smash it with the steps or something like the big rings?
Well, remember the beginning was with the fire extinguisher. He broke it. And then from there, it ended up being a storyline for it.
Yeah, and Taker was really selling that hand, and I was really believing it, especially I don't think I've heard Undertaker scream in pain like that, like before, because this was probably like the most vulnerable I've seen him, up to that point. I don't know if he's had any more vulnerable storylines after that. So
he's a quiet stellar, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this match was the one that Taker finally put Lesnar over, and this is where Lesnar. Mm-hmm. For the first time in his career was big shot. He's like, oh shit, you just beat the dead man. And now your career on SmackDown elevated, and now that's when he, after Taker, it was The Rock.
He definitely was very much elevated. And, of course that was a very big mark at the time, and I was cheering for Undertaker because he was babyface and Brock Lesnar was heel. So, and of course, and then Paul Heyman was, of course, just adding to that storyline. Using psychological tactics on Undertaker, bringing in, oh, you slept with this woman, Undertaker, like this, trying to, if I can't get to you physically, I can get to you mentally. So, you know, there was all those different elements. Like they were coming at Undertaker from all these different angles. You know, his wife was pregnant and just all these other things with the storyline, like the life's a bitch, hand on the stomach thing on the pregnant belly. So that was a big part of it.
The more psychological storylines that Lesnar has been a part of. Like,
I go medieval on your ass.
he usually just comes in and, you know, cleans house and goes home. But this actually had, like, you know, emotional, psychological tactics involved.
Yes, indeed. It did.
Yeah, Paul Heyman definitely was a huge like part of this. Such like so important. He was like not just the icing on the cake, but he was like the main flavor to this all. You know, looking back, and I was like, oh God, I hate that Paul Heyman so much. And I'm like, you really did his job. You really just, you know, he shined. He shined. Number 3, Mankind versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell. I think this was the match. I guess where Triple H like announces I retired Mick Foley, and you know I hated Triple H so much after this, and he really did his job. You know, like Mankind falling through the top of Hell in a Cell after I think it was like a back body drop or something, like lifts up, and then Mankind Mick Foley falls through the cage. And, you know, I think he breaks the center of the ring and it collapses a little bit of the center. And
then the side of the ring, like close to the side, almost towards the middle. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And he's just lying there, and just that image, you know, and of course, you know, Mick Foley, he's getting sympathy, he's a baby face, and you just want him to overcome that jerk Triple H. And they really did a good job in their roles in this. You know, once again, good guy, bad guy, a great match in that regard.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, the last 2 matches, I have a feeling the rest of us are going to at least like have these in our countdown.
I got that feeling with mine too. I feel you, homie.
Yeah. You guys, I think we can also take a guess at what the last 2 are. So, number 2 is the 6-man Hell in a Cell.
Oh, you son of a bitch! All right, yeah, go ahead.
Featuring The Rock, Rikishi, and Undertaker and Stone Cold, and I forgot the other 2, but
it was The Rock, Undertaker, Stone Cold, Triple H, Rikishi, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was the champ, and Kurt Angle walked out retaining the belt.
And just the whole what was leading up to that, the whole I did it for The Rock, you know.
I did it for The Rock.
There it is.
I did it for the people.
I did it. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
I don't care if it's called Hell in the Cell, Rage in a Cage, Penis and Uranus. You know?
I had to drink a big tall glass of milk.
And the promo leading up to it.
Oh my God.
You know, what was selling leading up, and then, you know, Rikishi getting thrown in the truck, you know, just all those different elements, you know, just I guess all the stuff surrounding this match probably is what, you know, I guess I probably like more of the stuff surrounding the match rather than more than the match itself, because, you know, you could only go so far with like when it's so many people in the match, you don't get to like zero in on like the personalities and the depth, because there's just so many different, you know, personalities in this match in the title picture. So, you know, but it's still great nonetheless. Very great nonetheless. All right, I'm going to jump right to number 1. I'm running through this one pretty quick. Let's do this. Of course, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to have this at number 1, Undertaker versus Mankind. I mean,
King of the Ring. That's right.
He loses his tooth through his nose. I mean, that's the by God, this man is broken, you know. JR making.
My God, this man is broken in half.
This won't be.
match.
I know this won't be mentioned anywhere else, but I'll say in the chat we were talking about Ash Avildsen. He casted Jim Ross as the boss of one of his characters he's like one of the main stars of that What Now movie. And I watched that movie and I didn't think it was all that great, but the best part of that movie is JR. JR is the best part of that entire movie. He's the best character in that movie. You know, I could care less about the rest of the characters, but just seeing JR as like an angry boss was pretty cool. It's like, my God, that son of a bitch, if you're late to work again, oh man, like so that's number one. So I think I only have one honorable mention, and I actually have to give it up for the ladies here for Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, Hell in a Cell. I gotta say that was I've never seen a structure built with Singapore canes or kendo sticks rather, and then putting a chair on top of those things to make some sort of structure. Like I couldn't imagine that. What a very
the Punjabi prison was kind of
That shit was horrible.
That's a different list.
That's like the worst
gimmick list.
Worst gimmick list of all time. That was the worst gimmick of all time.
Still writes itself.
Punjabi prison. I'm glad. Should I be glad that I don't know what you guys are talking about? Should I just never watch it?
You know what? Watch it. I want you to watch it because there's only been two.
One was like a year ago, and the other one was like 20 years ago.
Yes, the first one was with Batista, and the second wait, the Big Show. It was a Big Show. Remember that the Big Show, the first one, right?
You can't see that well through it. My God,
Great Khali, the Great Khali.
Yeah, but Great Khali backed out, right? Because he ended up putting Big Show in there, right?
In the first one?
Yeah. Remember, it was Big Show Batista, I think, because Khali got hurt.
The second one was
Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. And that's when the Great Khali came back.
Everything you need to say about that fucking match.
Fuck, that's the worst gimmick. It's the worst gimmick.
I never thought we could on the podcast. Anyways,
I'm looking at the pictures. It looks cool, but it looks cool, but I could see for the audience, it's way hard to see.
It makes no fucking sense.
Telling us that with kendo sticks, basically.
You cannot see inside of that thing at all. That's so hard to see. I mean, the bamboo looks kind of cool, but I mean, like, yeah. So that's the end of my list.
All right. Let me start this off. I'll start it off. All right, number 5. It will be. Believe it or not, actually, I did. Yeah. I did enjoy actually Taker and Shane at WrestleMania, so I'll put that one in there. I mean, that wasn't a bad match. I loved it. I haven't seen Shane for a while, so obviously we expected Shane to put on a performance, and I believe he did. And even though like the ending was not like as great, everybody, oh my god, but I gotta give credit to both of these guys still doing it, especially at their age and Hell in a Cell at a WrestleMania 32. I had to give credit what credit's due. Number 4. Obviously, you did mention. I'm gonna switch it up now. Now I have to switch it because I need to make it different. So actually, my number 4 will be Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
Ooh, yeah.
That wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was wow. Like I'm trying to get flashbacks of like how the match ended, but it was a great rivalry between them two. And I love it. So kudos to Ambrose and kudos to Rollins on that. And speaking of Rollins, I have to put him with him and Kevin Owens too. So I'll be number 3. Why not? That's not a bad another one there. Him and Kevin Owens, they put a hell of a show when Kevin Owens was a heel, Rollins was a babyface. So I enjoyed that match as well. You did mention the 6-pack challenge, which I had in my number 1, but I'm going to switch it off. So that's just me. I have to switch it off.
You're the boss, man. You do whatever you want.
So my number 2 would be, I liked it because we haven't seen, obviously, a bloody Hell in a Cell in a quite while since the first one, which I'm going to put in my honorable mention. But number 2 will be when it was DX versus Vince, Shane, and the Big Show.
Yeah, okay.
You guys remember that one, right? Like, I think that one was a bloody fucking match, and I haven't seen Vince, get his ass whooped like that for a while, and then especially with that sledgehammer right at the end, breaking it right behind him. Oh, that looked horrible. Like Vince, I gotta give it to him, man, for his age, still doing that. And good shit.
As you're doing your list right now, I am adding my second honorable mention right now. Like I only had one, but now I got two. So keep it going.
So my number one, I believe it or I mean, yeah, I had the 6-pack challenge. I should put the first ever one, but I'm gonna put that as an honorable mention. But I will mention it in a moment. But the one that actually was really that got everybody off their seats, and it got even myself because I thought it was over, which it was the end of an era, Taker versus Triple H at WrestleMania. So that one was the one that we all thought it was going to be Taker's losing to Triple H, and that was
my screen. Oh, I just spoiled alerted. All right, whatever, fuck it.
But but I didn't expect that one at all to end that way. I thought for a minute he wasn't going to lose though. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was gonna lose. But especially Shawn Michaels being the guest referee, come on. That was even more like dramatic. And this is how you know how bad they wanted to end the Taker streak. And my God, they put a hell of a show, man. I you gotta give it to them. And then obviously they walked out at the end, they carried him looking at the screen. Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. And so my honorable mention obviously will be the first one, which is Taker and Shawn Michaels, obviously, because they were the first ones to do it in the Hell in a Cell. And that's when we saw the debut of that's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane. So we saw the debut of Kane, that Hell in a Cell match, and so I had to give it to Taker Michaels for that. Second one that obviously you already mentioned was the 6-pack challenge. I love that one because we saw Rikishi get thrown off the cage, which was, pretty horrible. Because even though the landing, Rikishi was so safe compared to Mick Foley and, him being thrown off at King of the Ring. But Rikishi was bitching about, oh, my back. I hurt my back. What? You landed on a cushion, bro. Mick Foley did not. Come on, man. But I guess because he's a heavy man, heavier than Mick Foley. So I guess,
Yeah.
That's the reason why. But I had to switch it up, man. You killed me on your top 5, Matt. So I had to switch it up. So hopefully, let's see what the Great American Hero has to say.
Okay, let's see. Let me get my list right here. 5, The Fiend and Seth Rollins.
Ooh.
Okay. That was a brutal match, though.
Now, the whole thing that I've heard about that is that, the match ended in DQ, and why and how is that even possible? Hell in a Cell ending in a DQ. But there's more to it. And I really I like that idea of the Fiend changing people that he feuds with, that ultimately they change character or who they are just by being in a feud with him. And this whole thing kind of started what would end up being the Monday Night Messiah, right? So him making that choice of hitting him with I think it was a sledgehammer or something.
The giant clown mallet.
Yeah, the giant clown mallet. He had that choice. He could have just not done it and stayed true and blue babyface, but no, he did it. But I do think that the match should have ended as a loss for the Fiend at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, number 4, I have Sasha versus Charlotte, the first female Hell in a Cell match. I think that it was a big step for the women's revolution. Second only, of course, to the main event at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But who would have thought, in 1997, that there would be females wrestling in Hell in a Cell? Nobody would have thought that.
I agree with that.
So just the importance of the match, puts it in my list.
But not only that, just an FYI, that was another match that did not. The ending, the plot, and the ending did not turn out what they wanted. So if I don't know if you pay attention to the ending of it, I think they mentioned it too not on the WWE, but on other interviews that he do with other people and other third parties. They did mention that the finish was not supposed to be that way. The fact is that both of them were hurt legitimately, and obviously the table didn't break how they wanted it to happen, and because Charlotte was supposed to do the natural selection, I think, on the table, and it didn't work out for them. So that's why it ended how it ended. But
see, but I'm glad that they're going ahead and giving women a chance again. I believe so, right? I think Sasha and Bailey is going to be Hell in a Cell. So they Sasha gets another crack at it. Number 3 is Undertaker versus Lesnar, No Mercy 2002. I remember seeing this at a sports bar before I was 21.
What were you doing there? Wait a minute. What were you doing there before 21, Mike?
It's a long story.
I grew up watching parlors, man. I'm with you.
But yeah, it was definitely a memorable match for me, because it kind of and it showed in the storyline that after that Lesnar kind of started going face, and people had no choice but to cheer him, because man, here you go, he beat The Rock, he beat Undertaker, Hogan. This guy is the guy. The next big thing was there. So it was kind of almost climax, I feel, in that sense, or that road to being the next big thing, climax in No Mercy, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this. My apologies to interrupt. So I was wrong there. So it was after he beat The Rock, right? When he was the champion, right? Or was it before?
Yeah. So he was defending the title against Taker.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had it wrong.
He had already beaten The Rock.
Okay, perfect. That's why I'm like, okay. Oh yeah, perfect. All right.
And number 2, Undertaker versus Mankind. You want to talk about iconic matches?
Blasphemy!
The reason it's not my number 1, and yes, I understand that it's the most well-known, most iconic Hell in a Cell match of all time, more so than the original, I would say. But the reason it's my number 2 is that it wasn't much to it. I know I'm about to jump off a cliff here, but it was just
Top of a cage.
Is just being dropped off the cage, and saying that in that way kind of devalues Mick Foley's sacrifice, for lack of a better term. But as far as it being a match, I don't. It was just him falling, and
He did have zero offense. I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So there's that
in that match. I don't think. Maybe
but see, and I'm not taking it lightly in the way of it's number 7 on my list. No, it's number 2. So it's definitely up there. All that good stuff. Which brings me to my number 1. As a lifelong wrestling fan and buying video games, you want to play this match. You want to put 6 people in there, and everybody's just going after each other. The six-pack challenge, Hell in a Cell at Armageddon 2000. Yes, absolutely. You had McMahon driving in that truck for whatever reason, for no reason. Well, I guess to save them, I guess was the whole point of it. And then Rikishi fell on it, and
I'm gonna rewatch that again with that.
Every there's for me there's a yearly viewing of that match. I watch it. I already had my viewing a couple weeks ago of that match again.
I got to see it again. You know what? You're right about that. I need to see that match again. You can watch it on a WWE network.
$9.99.
$9.99.
First 30 days on new subscribers.
Actually, I don't think that's a thing anymore, from what I heard.
Not a thing anymore. Well, promotion class.
So, yeah, you gotta put that in there as number 1, in my opinion, because
it wasn't a one-sided beating. I get you. I get it.
How are you going to not put Kurt Angle, Triple H, Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, and Rikishi in a match? My goodness, again, they say, you can live it in through the video game, right? These dream matches. This was a dream match that There you go. It happened. So number one. Honorable mentions, I would say Triple H and Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. That moment, everybody gasped. Again, I saw this at a sports bar. And you know which moment I'm talking about. Super kick to pedigree. 1, 2, kick out.
Oh yeah, no, that's how it was. I was like, I threw my chair. I was like,
everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, this is it." That and I wish we had those moments more often in wrestling.
yes.
But when it happens, it's a moment that you will always remember. Absolutely.
Call us.
And my second honorable mention is the first one, the original.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at Bad Blood 1997.
Yes.
The debut of Kane. We had been hearing about this this person or this thing called
Kane's coming, Taker! He's coming!
Then, Dr. Isaac Yankem came out in a red mask. And,
nobody knew. Did anybody know it was him at the time, or how long until after?
Nobody knew. I don't think anybody knew who he was because remember, well, unless Mr. Papa fucking Meltzer fucking
Peaked it.
probably peaked the punch because knowing him, he's probably. I got my sources.
I knew by WrestleMania 14 that following March, but I did not know right away. Obviously.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There was no internet around that time, WrestleMania 14, that we found that it was Glenn.
There was AOL, but I mean, it was we were all probably early preteen, maybe 10.
About so.
I was barely learning what WWW was.
I was 13 in 97. I'm fucking old.
Yeah, so definitely of the original. Second honorable mention.
I love it, man. These are like good fucking picks for everybody so far. Now it's gotta be him because he's last, and he's the one who's gonna take it off and probably beat the shit of our list. So take it away.
Man, I'll tell you what. I didn't get anything wrong, but Mike, you changed my opinion on 2 matches for definite sure. That 6-man challenge match is not on my list. And that's probably my bad, but I do like my list. And then I have an honorable mention that I put on there as a shameful honorable mention as a list. But I'm changing it based on something you said that made me see it in a different light, and it deserves to be there for all the right reasons. So let's get this ball rolling. Number 5, I even have notes because I really wanted to cover some bases here, make sure I wasn't screwing this up. I've got that Taker versus Lesnar match on here just like you guys, except it happened 15 years later.
Oh, you're talking about the other one.
The other one.
Oh yeah, the other one.
Hey, listen, I think it was one of the bloodier matches for Lesnar outside of MMA.
Okay.
It was a finish spot galore. I mean, there was it took the third F5 to beat Taker. It was on the ring that Taker had pulled. What? I thought I heard something that threw me off right there.
I don't know. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I think it was Matt.
Matt, it was you.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's my stomach. I'm really hungry right now. So.
No worries, Matt. Threw me off. Taker removed the canvas. It was just floorboards, I believe. F5 onto that. I forget what cut Lesnar. I think it was a chair or into the pole or something like that. But solid number 5 because first of all, it happened 15 years, about 50. A little bit more than 10 years after their first match, which says something about the longevity of these two guys who were definitely not past their prime, but they're not spring chickens, especially in a match like this.
I agree.
So that itself, it was just big man spots. There was really not a lot of wrestling. It was signature, finisher, until that ending. And
because now Lesnar's known that for days. 15 German suplexes, 1 belly, 2 bellies, maybe 3 bellies.
Suplex City, bitch.
Suplex City. There you go. And then the F5, and then that's it. He's boring. I'm sorry.
I gotcha. Number 4 is on a list because it happened recently, and it was during a time when I didn't know Shane was coming back. I thought Shane was gone for good, and he comes back and he pulls this off. Owens and Shane.
Oh, yes. Nice.
About 2 years ago, with an angle where I think every day Kevin Owens clocked into work, his job was on the line, and I think Shane's gimmick was to every day he had to earn to keep his job, and this is one of those matches. Yeah. I think, right? Is this during that?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like it was.
That was the beginning. Actually, yeah, it was a big. It was right. Yeah, it was right. Yeah,
it was right about there. The high point of the match, pun intended, was obviously Mr. Big Bump himself, Shane going off the top of that cage. But the timing. I don't know if we talked about this on a podcast before. The absolute beautiful timing of Mr. One, Sami Zayn, pulling Owens from that table a blink before Shane landed is crazy. I didn't see Zayn ringside. I didn't even see a body to guess who it was. All I saw was immediately somebody pulling Owens off that table, Shane going through that table. It was only until the wide shots and the replays we were like, oh, who was that? Oh, it was Sami. Okay, this makes sense. He's going heel. They have, a history together as being best friends. And then you are watching the replay of Sami's around the turn post. He won't take his eyes off of Shane the whole time. And literally, I don't know how fast reflexes he and Owens have. Pulls Owens right off that table, man. I don't know if that was rehearsed. It was, obviously it probably was, but it was just some sick timing, man. And a big bump by at least a 45-year-old Shane. Puts that right on the list.
Definitely.
That is for sure.
They got upset. Shit. How you said it, that was a perfect timing. I don't know how can you time that. Oh wait, now it is. Like what? Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's
how?
Probably less than that. But how many seconds before you hit terminal velocity? They just really had to just drill that somehow. Maybe throwing like sandbags off of there and just getting that rhythm going. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. If anything, just that finish right there where Owens took the win. So yeah, I love that one. Now getting into my top three is when the iconic matches go start coming in. Number 3 is on somebody's list. I think it was Ivan's list. Is the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, which I actually enjoyed, other than it being the first women's Hell in a Cell match. But that does give it a lot of clout. I did not know it did not end exactly the way it was supposed to. I knew it ended with the table bump into a natural selection. I don't know if you know. The original finish was supposed to be the natural selection into the corner through the table. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what's supposed to be. Yeah, you remember that ending? That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Then the match would end that way, which was Mike's pick. It wasn't my pick. It was Mike's pick.
Okay, gotcha. I was excited for this match going into it because I'm all about that women's revolution. There was a whole year where it just felt like everything was a first for women. First Royal Rumble. First pay-per-view only women, which was called Evolution, right? Yeah.
Yes.
First tag champs. It was all coming. You had the NXT horsewomen. Everybody. It was just first for everything. I loved it. I'm all about that roster right now. This match started even before the match started. I remember Becky. Was it Becky? Yeah, Becky. No, not Becky. What am I talking about? Banks. Sasha Banks got messed up before the match started, before the cage came down.
That power bomb to the table that messed her up.
She got taken out, and we thought the match was going to be over. Charlotte declares herself the winner, does her thing, turns around. Banks is stumbling back out. The match begins, and it is just lady chaos until that finish.
The other issue with that as well is the timing. That they were, I think, whatever co-main event occurred at that time took more time away from this main event.
It went over.
And the problem was that they had to rush everything so quick as well. How they planned of how from start to finish with this match. That's why for them, obviously they praised that they were the first 2 women, in which I do praise them, and that's taking them that away from them. Obviously, they do not praise the finish of it because the fact that the co-main event took 15 minutes of their time that they're supposed to input in the match.
I didn't know that either. That happens with bands, man. That sucks. Like if a band prior to your band goes over their set list, you eat that minute, and it's
I fucking hate it.
And some motherfucker didn't know how to unplug his guitar.
Yep.
I fucking hate it. We've all probably been there. We've all probably played a live show in there.
Chris, I've actually seen a band actually kick another band's equipment off the stage just because they went over. This was like an 06 or 07.
That's pretty vicious. I don't think I'd ever do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
I would just ask for our regular. You tell us. Don't tell us from 9 o'clock to 9:45. Say as soon as we get on stage, we got 45 minutes.
No, Mike will point the finger. Harry the fuck. Right, Mike?
Yeah, you. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, well, that's good.
My number 2 is on the list because it is on the list because it was the first match ever.
Yes.
First Hell ever. Nobody knew what was going to happen in this match. It was supposed to be some diabolical structure from the pits of hell or whatever the fuck Vince was upselling on it. It was pretty bloody. It was Shawn. It was Undertaker. They definitely have fought maybe 200 times. The debut of Kane. But what I liked was the debut of Kane. There was red. I think there was pyro. I think there was blood. There was literally everything you'd imagine there would be for a Hell in a Cell at a pay-per-view called Bad Blood, especially when you were on the fringe of the pre-Attitude Era. This was the end of the – I don't know what to call it, the era before the Attitude Era, like the cheesy gimmick era, like the occupational era where everybody
I would say
the next generation era is what they use.
I think it's there you go. You're right. Yeah, it's the end of the era for that next generation because you could say
this was sort of the beginning of just the Attitude Era, yeah, where things started to get real, as far as kayfabe goes. Yeah. It was fun, man. I was 13 years old when this happened, and this was probably the most violent match WWF at the time had ever had up until, the Austin and Bret Hart match at the WrestleMania that same year, 2 or 3 months prior. That definitely was up there, and then this happened and set the standard for. I just looked this up. 41 Hell in a Cells ever since.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's a lot of Hell in a Cells.
A lot of Hells. And my number 1, how predictable is absolutely going to be Hell in a Cell, 1998, King of the Ring. I remember where I was. I was at my homeboy Mark's house watching this. Ivan had mentioned, yeah, you're right. There wasn't a lot of match going on this. This was a stuntman bump fest. And if I remember when watching the Beyond the Mad documentary, almost none of the spots were planned. I hear conflicting stories that throwing Mankind off the top for that initial death bump was not planned, that he made it up on the spot. And then I've heard people be like, oh, yeah, no, they rehearsed that. He knew where to throw him. Like, I don't know who to believe on that one. Terry Funk comes out. Terry Funk's legitimately actually worried. It's an actual.
I'm sorry I had to laugh because
Terry Funk comes out, man.
Yeah, but it gets choke stab and his shoes comes off. How the fuck do you get choke stabbed and your shoes come off? Like, what the fuck? What's up with that? What's up with that?
They go to take Mankind to the back. He comes back out, and then he gets, I forget the order. I think it is the tombstone onto the thumbtacks. No, I'm wrong.
Oh, the chair.
Back to the top of the cage. It's a choke slam through the cage, which is, that probably should have killed him more than the first bump. And then after the choke slam through the cage onto thumbtacks, it's the tombstone onto a chair onto thumbtacks into actual hell, and the match is over.
Okay, it was the thrown off the cage, the first one. Then they went to the top again, and then the choke slam through the cage. And then after that was the choke slam on the thumbtacks. And then after that, and it was a tombstone power driver in the chair, and that was it.
It was like playing your little brother in a SmackDown game. It was literally just hitting your finisher through violent stuff.
And by the way, Mike was the one that mentioned that it wasn't a match.
I don't know why I keep saying your name, man. You're really not that cool.
I know. But I'm still cool.
It is absolutely iconic and deserves to be. I think 1 or 2 is fine, but because of the eyes it put on the prize. This was making news headlines on actual news channels, just like the Austin and Mike Tyson press conferences were. This made people re-question whether or not pro wrestling was real. People were like, oh my God, Mankind almost died. He did almost die. He throws him. He did throw him off the side of a cage. But it got so many eyes on this gimmick match that weren't already watching pro wrestling that I think it does deserve to be number 1 because it put Hell in a Cell as, I would say, the number 1 gimmick match or the most looked forward to gimmick match in the history of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
It's really the way for a feud to be settled, like the ultimate final level of a feud. Like there's no escape. 2 people.
you'll usually see like a non-finish happen and then like a DQ finish happen, and we're gonna settle this at Hell in a Cell, and it usually is settled at Hell in a Cell. That's
especially if it's like a heel faction or if they have a manager. Like there's always going to be like they retain the title because the manager interference, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, what better way to keep them out of the match than by locking us in the cage? Exactly.
Like that was like more than half the matches during the invasion angle was like DQ finishes. It was all DQ finishes.
There's so many non-finishes right now. I think shout out to my boy Simon Miller at What Culture. He has a counter for the top 3 promotions of non-finishes versus finishes versus surprise roll-ups, and I think he said something like 87% of feuded matches on a main event are non-finishes right now on WWE's main roster. It's insane. My first honorable mention is on this list originally because it was a list of what it was a lot of good ideas mixed with what I don't want in a match, and Mike turned my opinion about this into something that made sense, and it was absolutely the Seth Rollins Bray Wyatt match.
Good shit. Say it, Matt.
I loved that it was completely red. I've had the experience of seeing Bray Wyatt live during a house show at the Staples Center last December, and the whole match was red. And from the audience point of view, you can still see everything, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Wait, you were there? You were there?
Were you there?
I was there.
I was there. We didn't know each other, so you know.
I was in a skybox. Sorry.
It's like when are you cut in front of each other in line for hot dogs?
Right. That was you.
I was in a VIP room, bro. I was in a VIP one.
What I didn't like. Okay, what I do like about it was I did like the red. I did like obviously this match wasn't made for Bray Wyatt. Obviously, no, it was made for Undertaker, but it fits the Fiend character perfectly because of the Firefly Funhouse. It's dark, it's eerie, it's supernatural. The point that you made about how Bray Wyatt will consume his opponent into doing things that they wouldn't do characteristically. You mentioned that Seth Rollins had gone from being super over as a face to a slow, natural progression to the dark side. I do remember that. I do love that. I don't know if it was the next night or a couple nights later where they were kayfabe bitching about like the ratings and how Seth Rollins we're going to bring this team together. We're going to work our asses off. We're going to be better. And everyone's like, who are you to tell us what to do? This was kind of the catalyst for that evolution of him becoming the Monday Night Messiah. What I didn't like is how, first of all, I think it ended in was it DQ or a no contest? I think it was a no contest, right?
No, DQ.
Was it DQ?
Yes.
What the absolute fuck in a no DQ match? It should have been like an.
It should have been me. It should have been.
Okay, so remember Lesnar Orton, the elbow. It was a non-finish, but it was a finish by TKO. There was no pinfall, no submission. Orton could not continue because of the cut. It should have been that. It should have been a TKO finish win for Seth, but people were waiting for Bray to win that match because people were just waiting for that pop because they were building this Fiend character for months and months. And traditionally what they do with Wyatt is they build him up. He'll either win the title and lose it the next day, or they'll just bury the character. But as his loss in this match, or his non-win in this match for the title, was sort of a sacrifice to building the Monday Night Messiah character, I sort of get it, but I still would have liked to have seen him win in a match like this. It would have been cool to have seen Seth push himself to a violent limit that he could not, he never had gone before. He did do that in the match, but, Bray would just be lying there, and Seth's like, I'm out of ideas, man. I almost practically cut this dude's head off. Mandible Claw gets the win. That would have been okay with you.
I would have been okay with it. The problem is, I agree with like what you just said. Like that makes so fucking sense.
I apologize.
No. It makes sense. It's just the fact. What really pissed me off about this one, and I believe you guys could agree with me, is okay. You made a no DQ. Nobody lost. Obviously Seth lost, obviously, but you made Bray Wyatt lose to Goldberg
in 13 seconds. or some shit like that.
You get my point.
Saudi
That's
Arabia.
inside. You made him lose to Goldberg in 13 seconds. I don't want to disrespect Goldberg, but I have no choice to do it because you're Papa Vinny. You just go there. All you do is the same as Lesnar: 3-4 spears and a jackhammer. That's it.
It was transitional. Goldberg was a transitional.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, Mike. Well, I want to hear your thoughts about this one.
Okay. To me, the Saudi Arabia shows are not canon. No.
I feel you.
To me,
I love you, man. I fucking love you, man.
Like it never happened. What
they
shows?
are
What are you talking about? What
to
are
me, the Saudi Arabia shows are just the
fan fiction.
they're just the prince of Saudi Arabia saying, "Here, here's $100 million. I want this and this and this to happen, and with these and these and these people, make it happen, Vince." It's just an order, or it's just a custom show for the Saudi Arabian prince. That's all it is.
That's not a conspiracy. That is what it is.
They managed.
Those shows never happened.
Wait, what shows?
So what shows? What are you talking about? We don't. They went to Saudi Arabia. Wow, I didn't know that.
He managed to get Shawn Michaels out of retirement. You think Shawn Michaels would have wanted to have his last match be at Saudi Arabia?
One of the worst matches of all time.
No, not at all.
The other worst match is that Goldberg Undertaker match, and that happened in Saudi Arabia.
Yes. So the whole Greatest Royal Rumble thing that Braun Strowman won that trophy and did nothing with it, did not even get a title shot for it, for the Greatest Royal Rumble. You know, it's those shows are glorified house shows, in my opinion.
Hey, at least we get to see Titus and courtesy of But see, at least we get to see Titus and Neil fall. You know, like the biggest
slid.
He slipped. He slipped.
I feel bad. I really feel bad for that gentleman, man. Like, he did not deserve to have that happen to him, and it did happen to him, and he did the best for living it up to you know.
But in this match, though, definitely, I agree with you guys were saying, and it should have been Bray win over, and how you said, Chris, that this could have been a perfect way to build the heel for Rollins to be like, I'm doing everything in my power to get this man down. He's not going down. He loses it. He goes crazy. He goes like on a psychotic fucking rage.
He did do a lot of that, but
he could have excelled more. You get me?
You know what would have been really sick? Would have been like if he just walked out of the cage. He's like, I can't keep beating the shit out of this guy. Like, I just leave, and he just walks out, and then Bray's declared the winner.
That too.
That would have been totally slick, totally original. I'm gonna apply for a writer position at WWE Towers next July.
Yes, come in. Make sure you give us a call.
Right. Hey, you guys really want to see an honorable mention that it deserves to be on this list for all the wrong reasons?
Okay, I want to see it.
I want you guys to guess. One guess each. Ready? Go. I bet you'll get it. No, you give up?
Mike, come on.
I'm going through my database right now. I cannot. McMahon, something with Vince McMahon. Was he ever in one?
Pull that up real quick here. Let's see where to go.
I'm gonna say. Oh, when I find out.
I'm looking through my pictures here. Where to go?
Oh my God! Really?
They legitimately hung the motherfucker. They hung him from a noose in the middle of the cage in the middle of like 1998 or 99.
Or Ray Trailer.
Poor Ray Trailer. Rest in peace, Ray Trailer. This isn't what killed you. But oh my God, this should have been the end of anything. I don't understand how the cops didn't just show up from the arena and shut this shit show down, bro. Go look it up if you've never seen this. They legitimately have the Brood at the time, who is part of the Ministry of Darkness, come down from the rafters to the top of the cage and straight hang a noose down the cage. Poor boss man is literally hanging like he'd stolen something in 1887. He fights, he wriggles, he kicks, then he passes out, and then the lights go out. And I think that was the end of that segment. And
Chris, Chris, real quick, I think when the British people who never seen wrestling reacted to it, I'm like, who are those guys in white? Is that Jesus? There's 3 of them. Is it Threesus?
Oh my God. This is literally the opposite for another list. The worst Hell in a Cell of all time, and it is on my dishonorable mentioned list, but it had to be talked about because he's dead. You can't bring him back. You killed him. I think Big Boss Man went on to feud with like Al Snow like a week later or some bullshit like that.
Pepper.
But who?
Brought him back
Rest in peace,
to life.
Pepper.
Pepper.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're eating Pepper, Snow. I'm feeding you your dog.
And Big Show's dad.
Worst angle of all time.
All I know is that they asked Bruce. I remember they asked Bruce Pritchard on the podcast. Asked him on some of the wrestle. They asked him, "Hey, so where'd you get that rope at? Oh, rope R us. You know, it was rope R us. Everything R us. You know, like that."
Yeah.
I agree with you. Wow, I forgot about that fucking. I forgot about that Hell in a Cell match.
I'm sorry to bring that back up to you. Okay, so at Hell in a Cell, Hanging Boss Man, both Punjabi matches. Go watch those and never watch wrestling again because that is the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, you know what? If you do not want to watch WWE and go straight to AEW, watch those matches, and then you'll be sticking to AEW.
Go watch the Punjabi matches. Watch both of them. They're not long.
I'm curious about that.
Just stick to NXT. Do not watch Raw or SmackDown. Watch AEW.
AEW has not yet.
I wonder what was Gangrel, Edge, and Christian? What was going through their heads? Is like, we're gonna fly down, we're gonna ascend from heaven. Like if they were wearing angels' wings, that would have it was like shit.
Even Taker was upset with that match, and Bruce looked at him like, "I'm sorry, man. It wasn't my call. Fuck you. You fucked me over again, Bruce." Like giving him bad matches. He fucked him over with the Giant Gonzalez. You know, all due respect to him. Rest in peace. He fucked him over with King Kong Bundy. That was another horrible one at WrestleMania. And then with the Boss Man, yeah, buddy. I don't know what you're doing, Bruce. Bruce, you're losing your touch too, man. I love your show, but Mike hates you. But I mean, I love your show. So we gotta be careful on that.
Brother love.
I love you.
And that is my list. It's not a bad list. All those matches, every match we all listed is worth watching at least once if you've never seen them. I'm gonna rewatch that 6-man.
You gotta I want to watch that too, man. But I love your list, brother. I love it. I'm trying to get Mike a hug, but he slapped me. You know, he's gonna give me the finger. You
crack that soldier, boy. Like the second whenever you say you crack that soldier.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yep.
That's what imagine if Hulk Hogan actually did that. Like the second he does you and the song starts playing and they puts on a backpack and it's like
hey, that would be so fucking hilarious if that happens.
Hulk Hogan doing the soldier boy.
Oh my God. That'll be something crazy.
Why me roll? Why me crack a mustache?
I gotta hear that song again, man. Well, I'll hear it when I get up there. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys, our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in for our top 5 pick of the week for week 25. Stay tuned for our next week for week 26. Yes, we'll be dressed up for Halloween as we're gonna go ahead and actually give our top best ring attires of all time. We might include the best bad ones too, maybe. If we have the time, we'll include the bad ones too.
We can put those in the dishonorable mentions.
We can do it. Yeah, we can figure that one out. But yeah, but definitely top 5 best ring attires. Doesn't matter what promotion. Because I already know Mr. Kenny Olivier over here loves Kenny Olivier. So he's going to include, I know for a fact, he's going to include Kenny Omega on his top 5. I already know it. Not even surprised about that. See, he knows it's true. That's why he's not even saying anything.
Don't you have to have a match against
I need a blush. I need
what's Kenny Omega? What's Kenny Omega's BFF? Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah, Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah. You gotta fight him for Kenny, bro. That's the match to make.
Yeah, that's the match. That's the dream match right there for you. You versus Michael Naka.
Not gonna wrestle in AEW anytime soon.
It has to be a threat match because, I think Kota Ibushi's probably the biggest competitor for that too. So it's like all three, both the Golden Lovers and Nakazawa.
And just to mention our viewers as well that we're gonna be dressed up for Halloween for our top 5 because it's Halloween weekend. Why not? Let's just go ahead and do it. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and get dressed up for you guys. You don't even know. I don't know what's Mike going to be. You don't know what's
I'll
Matt.
find out the day of. We'll find out. We'll all find out, as well as the viewers. We'll find out when we all log into Zoom that day.
Definitely.
I got a pack of Mike and Ike's around here. I've got my candy already ready to go.
Okay, see, he's ready to go already.
Whatever the hell my Mike and Ike's are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in once again. It's Devious One IBC, obviously with Let Me In. Oh, no, the Brood right there. I already know. I'm already guessing right there. He's gonna be the Brood, Chris Kennedy right there. I already see it. I see it already happening. And obviously we see Matt. I believe Matt's gonna be Kenny Omega for Halloween. I guarantee you that. Yes, you can pull it off. You have the hair, bro. I'll give you a lot of credit for it. Or you could be Kushida, maybe. I don't know. Or Sonata or Naito, maybe.
I'll surprise you guys.
And then also the great American hero of all heroes, the one that flexes, that will, yes, and to say, F you, Bruce Pritchard, F you, Benny Pops, F you, Retribution,
You cracked
you. And that is the great American hero, Mr. Mike Lopez. Saying to you guys, good night. There you go. And see you next week. Happy Halloween.